F-Zero probably counts as one of the abandoned game franchises of Nintendo due to them lacking new ideas for new games. It's just odd that they keep on referencing the franchise in other games, yet never deliver on a new title, even though the Nintendo Switch would be the perfect console to bring the franchise back. Not only did it excel in music and innovative track design back in the F-Zero X times, it also did one thing as good as hardly any other games did up until today: deliver the feeling of going fast. Like, really fast. And not only is this perfect for a multiplayer racing game, F-Zero is considered one of the hardest games to speedrun that exist. While this video is about F-Zero GX and not F-Zero X, which is considered even harder due to more complex techniques, the runs and the tasks of this game are beyond stunning. To get the video about this one going, we're going for 2 chapters of the story mode, which only F-Zero GX had. And while this might sound like there's only limited options on how to complete the levels due to the missing laps system in a lot of chapters, there is actually a lot of potential. So let's stop with the trivia and get right into it.
For the speedrun, we will be using footage of Supersonic, the current world record holder. Overall, it took him 19 minutes and 49 seconds to beat the story mode in 2015. This one was a second faster than the previous world record by Crazy Game Nerd in 2013. So this game got quite a history and is not being ran as much anymore. We will be starting off with chapter number 5, in which the player plays as Captain Falcon and has to escape from an exploding power plant within 50 seconds after rescuing Jodie Summer. The machine is set to maximum acceleration. This might seem odd at first due to the low maximum speed this setting can reach, but we'll get to that in a second. The chapter starts off with the vehicle moving immediately and the player getting boost power right away, and this is necessary to beat the level. There are health capsules spread over the entirety of the course for the player to boost through the entire level while also dodging the closing doors in order to make it to the end in time, which is fairly hard to do if you play this chapter for the first time. The speedrun here starts off boosting right away, but stops using the A button to turn off the engine of the machine, as that would force the game to slow the machine down to the maximum speed of the setting the player chose. Gas is only used with the boost to not nullify the entire speed that the boost would give. This technique is called momentum throttle, which allows the player to lose speed way slower than a machine would originally allow. Using this and precise knowledge of booster and health pills, it's fairly easy for Sonic to navigate to the end, beating the track in only 37 seconds. Also, a small fun fact, the very hard setting was laid out in such a way for the player that you had to play nearly perfect in order to reach it in the end. However, if you're playing close to perfect, you can leave out one of those health pills and still make it with a couple of frames left. Unless you're Tas.
Crazy Game Nerd, or CGN, was an insanely good runner of F-Zero GX back when he still ran the game. He was so good, some people even called him a machine for pulling off a lot of risky frame-perfect tricks, even in marathons such as Awesome Games Done Quick. And keep in mind that this game runs at 60 frames per second. But not only was he an insane runner, he also proved that F-Zero GX is one of the most impressive games there is to watch when it comes to tool-assisted speedruns. While Chapter 5 doesn't seem to have a lot of options for improvement left, CGN proves this wrong. Very, very wrong. The task starts off as usual, by triggering a boost and then using momentum throttle to lose less speed. And then it gets out of hand. He passes the first wall, hits the next one slightly and transitions into a trick called Momentum Turbo Rail Slide, which is barely visible at all. This is a variation of a trick CGN uses for the entirety of the chapter called Momentum Turbo Slide. This is done by holding a direction and the opposing shoulder button, followed by a side attack in order to maintain speed as the runner stops the trick. While this is a lot of explanation for a task, the outcome is, well, this. Looking at the portraits in the top left corner of the screen does make you wonder whether they're actually panically escaping or just banging out to some kind of metal.
Next up, we're showing Chapter 2. This chapter is a little more tricky for both the speedrun and the task. In here we have to race Samurai Goro, and due to the fact that this was just a couple of minutes into the run, the runners don't shy away from using as many risky but beneficial tricks as they can. The race starts off the same as always. Start, boost, boost again and release gas. However, this time you see Sonic going off track for a short amount of time several times. While this might seem as a fun time waster, this is actually really useful, as this trick is called shift boosting. This is done by leaving the track for a fraction of a second and coming back on track, gaining quite a bit of speed. Another fun fact here, even a staffed ghost uses this technique on the track Sand Ocean Literal Shift. Sonic performs this as many times as he can, in combination with him tapping A in order to maintain speed and boosts, followed by momentum turbo slides at the curved parts of the track. Combining these, he reaches an insane amount of speed, which even exceeds the 3,000 kilometers per hour, beating Samurai Goro by a tremendous amount in only 40 seconds and 900th of a second.
Time to show you how fast shift boosting can be, and thus, welcome to Seizure City. The race starts off with CGN aiming straight for the ledge of the track and shift boosting like a madman in order to reach a speed of over 6,000 kilometers per hour in pretty much no time. He shifts off of the track and onto the track all the time, which seems to make Captain Falcon so happy he can't even hold his excitement. This time, we won't even need any momentum turbo slides, as our speed just goes up so high that we eventually just fly up and navigate through rocks with their lack of collision. The only thing we now have to care about is to hit invisible checkpoints and fly our way to victory. Watching this makes us pretty much as happy as Captain Falcon is driving his vehicle during the TAS. Well, that went by quickly. So thank you for watching our little video on F-Zero GX. I'm actually super interested in your thoughts about this one, so make sure to leave them in the comments and subscribe if you haven't yet.